Unspoken Words is partnered with Inez Queen Water, a Black women-owned spring water brand whose purpose is to give you life and keep you healthy. For more information, visit them at www.inezqueenwater.com or online at Inez Queen Water.
They say walk in your truth and not in your shadows. They also tell you you're too much, making you feel like a burden, but they always want you to speak up for what isn't spoken. Unspoken truth, hiding behind an unspoken poet, unspoken stories, never get told by unspoken words.
Quarantine dreaming got me wide awake with my eyes closed. Masking half your face, but I can still see your eyes though. Admiring you from 6 feet, leaving love letters on your DoorDash. I'm itching for your touch, I got a scratch, I know it's gone rash. This distance couldn't distance us. You spoil me, is this too much? And I could never lose you, cause if they took you, it'd be fisticuffs. I lose my composure when you tease me on FaceTime. I'm trying to pay attention, but I'm glued to your waistline. The way you looking at me got me wishing I could take time to lay you down and break you off. Pay attention to these face signs. You see, with you, it could be day and night, and I wouldn't tell the difference. Shit, what's that sound? That must be my alarm in the distance. And when I'm awakened, I'm saddened to find you missing.
Yo, what's good? It's your girl, Becky the Poet. Welcome to Unspoken Words Podcast. You are now tuning into episode 92, season 10. Yeah! We have a special guest here. If you're listening, you should go to YouTube. You should go to YouTube because you're going to miss a lot of great content, poets performing. And then you'll get to see the face of the voice you're listening to. So all you have to do is go to Unspoken Words Podcast, find us on all listening, video, social media. Okay. All right. So special guest. We have a special guest here who is a music creator, content creator, providing a platform. I need to stop saying providing platform for creatives. CEO of How to Be Social. We have Jules Clark.
Woo! Are you gonna add in little clapping noises? That's my favorite part on podcasts.
Maybe,
yeah, you should. I think it's definitely one of those things. I'm a huge cartoon nerd, so anything that's like kind of anime style, I'm like, let's add it in. I'm like, let's do it. Well, thank you guys so much for having me on here today. I really appreciate it. I mean, the Unspoken Words Podcast is definitely one of the things that's talked about in the creative community in 10 seasons. Yes. Dang, that's a lot.
Yeah, I like to do my things in tens, and then like also we're about to be 3 years. So episode 100 will be falling.
That is consistency.
Right. Hey. Yeah, thank you.
What are these called?
Snaps.
Thumbs.
thumbs.
All right, one blunder down. All right, here we go.
No, it's funny. I work at a restaurant as well too, and I'm like trying to explain pork rinds, and I'm like, but compare it to chicken skins. I'm like, chicharrones, but like, I was like, it's not chicharrones. Like, what is it? Like, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know how to talk. Those crispy things.
No, yesterday I was doing a photo shoot with a client, and I was talking to the bartender, and I wanted to step behind the bar for a second because the lighting was really good behind the bar. And I go, oh, well, it's fine. I'm bartender certified. And I was like, damn, that is not what it's called. I was like, TBC. I'm TBC certified. So I think it happens to the best of us.
Yes.
Even the ones with the best like communication, we still like blunder the worst.
I feel like our mind is just working on 100 all the time.
Yeah, I've been told multiple times that it's not my fault. It's that my brain just works so fast that my mouth can't keep up.
True. So since this pandemic, I actually ran into How to Be Social watching Leah Frazier.
Cool.
You're doing live interviews. Mm-hmm. So are you still doing live interviews? How has How to Be Social transition? And first of all, before we get into the transition part, tell us who and what How to Be Social is.
Yeah, for sure. So How to Be Social is How to Be Social is actually going through an evolution point right now, but at its core, it's creative community. So it started off as a small blog about 3 years ago just to inspire people to be the best that they could possibly be.
Yeah.
That grew into events, and then I was really involved in the creative community, and I saw a need that creatives didn't know how to treat themselves like a business.
Right.
And so I started providing events that had panelists that were radio hosts, that were lawyers in creative, and all these types of things. And so these events got really big. We had this big big one at the end of the year. It's called the End of Summer Soiree. We had like basically a vendor market, all this kind of stuff. 300 plus people would show up. Wow. So it became a really, really cool community where creatives could come and learn and also connect with the rest of the community.
Right.
So up until this year, that's what it's been. This year, I actually transformed it again into a talent agency for creatives. I mean, things have been crazy this year because of COVID, and we've definitely done some really cool things. We've put back $35,000 worth of money into the creative economy through our business, which is awesome, but we're actually going through a new evolution point, which is we're going to be doing a course for creatives, like a crash course, so that creatives can learn business all in a day, and then eventually it'll transform from there.
I like that because it's kind of like, what do you call it? Like when you go to a job, sometimes when you're graduating college or even high school, you don't know how to make a resume, right? You don't know how to do interviews. So we have courses for that, right? But as a creative, you aren't told like to do certain things. And so it's nice to have...
They don't know how to do contracts or LLCs.
Right. It's nice to have someone show us that and give us workshops, classes. In other words, build our creative resume.
Yeah.
Because even I, like a lot of people I've talked to, we hop into this world of entrepreneurship. We hop into this world of music artists, poets, or whoever, creatives, and just like, I want to do this full time, right? But it's like, do you know what falls behind that? Do you know like the paperwork behind it?
Well, and it's so crazy too because I think creatives are so passionate about what they do, and that's why I've fallen in love with like the creative community and artists in general. Like, I don't care what discipline you are. Like, I think that if you are creating something out of nothing, you're doing something that nobody else can possibly do, which I think is beautiful. But I think a lot apparently, but no, truly, there are so many gaps in education when it comes to teaching artists how to treat themselves like a business, and there's no college degree for it really. And honestly, I don't even think you need a college degree for it. So many of these kids are learning off YouTube, but unfortunately they're falling prey to a lot of people that are taking advantage of them in the business industry. My creative director, Bo, at How to Be Social, he said one time, creative entrepreneurs, the punching bag of the free market economy. And I was like, that is so fucking true. Am I allowed to cuss on this podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
I know, poets are like, is this PG-13? I was like, nah, just
roll with it.
Yeah. I will say this, you are very talented. I was just talking to Samo, and she's our creative director / maybe manager soon. But she was talking about multi-potentialite, people who, I guess, you're not just stuck with one thing, right? You know how in the old school way, your parents say, be a lawyer, be a doctor, be all this basic stuff. And then you're like, okay, I'm gonna hop into it. But then you're like, I'm not as happy here because I like to do music, or I like to, like, I like to DJ, or I like to do videography. Like, I like to do all of that, but it's like, people are like, find that niche, pick one. It's like, how can I pick one if I'm happy in all avenues?
Oh my gosh, amen. I totally agree with that.
And I see you do all that. So like, how do you run How to Be Social? How do you create your music at the same time while also, I guess, chiming into everything else you do?
Yeah, so let me start here. I don't want to put on any like fallacies or try to act bigger than I am. I think a lot of this year that's what I've learned, is that I was trying to be like this badass CEO, business entrepreneur woman. And I realized I am 24 years old. I am still learning and figuring out this game myself. But I know that I have a lot to offer because I am the type of girl, I fail so fast, so hard, and I go right back up and I try again. And I think that's why I've been able to move so fast in my career so far, because I'm not scared to fail. I actually welcome failure. So when it comes to all the things that I do, it's not that I'm the best at all of them. I like to say I'm going to write a book one day that's called How to Be Above Average in Everything, because that's truly what it is. For me,
kind of like the Try Guys, how to... They have the book like How to Fail, like how much they failed and how much they got to this point.
Well, and the thing is that you can do anything. Like, truly and honestly, artists are the most powerful people because, like I said, they create something out of nothing.
True.
But I think the key to not being stuck in a niche or stuck doing one thing, or you know how people get famous for one thing and they're expected to keep creating that thing, is to just follow your intuition. I have 3 rules of life, and the first one is to follow your curiosity. And I think it's really important that whenever you get that divine intuition, and it could be as simple as like, go eat, you know, like go eat something today. Or maybe it's like, hey, throw that mud on a canvas. Like, maybe that'll look cool.
Yeah.
You have no idea where that's going to take you. And it might not be your $1 million idea, but it's the stepping stone to the $1 million idea.
Right. I will say this. Creating different paths for what we want to do is great. I believe in also putting 100% into one thing first and then chiming into the next thing like after you put 100% into something. I listened to the podcast with your best friend.
Oh, Amanda?
Yes.
Amanda Jewel. Sorry, love her.
I saw that your business, How to Be Social, is run by a lot of your friends.
Yeah.
And I was just listening to Amanda Seal's audiobook about how your friends could be your best business partner or they maybe not be, right?
Yeah.
I know you probably had to go through trial and error when it came down to deciding like if this friend can do what you are wanting, your like meeting your expectations, you know?
Yeah.
So I go ahead and give like some tips on how somebody can, I guess, you know, work with friends without having to deal with maybe fallouts, downfalls, anything negative about it, but show them how like maybe positivity that comes out with working with friends.
So there is no way to avoid bad moments, period,
Right.
the end. The friends that you choose to have in your business, the ones that you really do want to work with you, make sure that they have one thing, and it's the ability to compromise and to communicate. I've had to let go of somebody out of my company, and I've also had people leave because, not because I'm not a good leader or a good manager, but because we're all still learning, right?
Right.
This is my first year actually running and managing. We have 30 people in the portfolio, and then we had, I think at the peak, about 8 people working at the company. And what I realized is that I was trying so hard to help all of my friends and get all my friends gigs that I was not doing any of them a service. So I think the number one thing when working with friends is make sure you're balancing like what you can do and like their expectations.
Right.
Because I tried to be everybody's savior, and at the end of the day, I let a lot of people down. And so now I'm having to go back to the beginning and say, okay, what can I do to help my community?
Right.
And so I think the important thing is make sure that that communication is there. Never lie. Don't try. What I did was I tried to be that savior. I overpromised and underdelivered.
Okay.
And so that was one of the big lessons that I learned. When letting go of a friend, it was because they didn't meet my expectations.
Right.
So a lot of the times it comes down to that communication about expectations.
Which is, it's a good point because I know we all have a group of friends where like, we're going to do things together, right? But when things start happening, you start to realize like, maybe we can't do things together right now, you know, or maybe this project right now isn't like what we all need to do together because, you know, you kind of run into different opinions and different, like I have different ideas, you know. I will say this though, sometimes projects are meant to be done together and some projects can be done individually. You know, I also love the feel of everybody putting in something and not one person putting in all of it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like a bad school project.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to be in group projects because this person I know, and so you know, in high school or whatever, you do group projects like you know that this person's gonna put in the work, but then you also know who's gonna put 100% in.
Yep.
So people can talk a good game and be like, hey. I want to work with you, but then in all reality, they have other plans of I want to work with you because you're gonna do everything for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I've had some really great experiences working with people on projects, and I think the one thing that. So like the end of summer soiree that I mentioned earlier, that was a big event. And so we had about 4 people working on that event and everybody played their part. There was one girl who got not even like halfway through the event was like, I can't do this. Like, this is not my thing. And I was like, you know, I can sit there and be mad or get upset with her, or I can just be like, everything happens for a reason. Girlfriend, take care of yourself. I appreciate you. I love you. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm never fucking working with you again.
You know, I love that. I love how you can keep it professional, but also respect their lives and not be like, I freaking hate you. Like you ruined everything. Like it's good to take a negative situation and like keep it positive, but also keep it professional.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's how it is. Like even when you're leaving a job, you know, you have great coworkers and maybe you're close to your manager and you're just like, yo, like, I don't want to be here because of other reasons. But when you have them say it's okay, like do what's best for you, it's great. But it's also like, you know, make sure you leave on professional terms so you won't be like fuck you, man, like you suck, you ruined everything.
Well, and I think it really goes back to something that my mentor, Lori Medina, said. She's like worked on a lot of politics and political campaigns and things like that. But she always said, the people that are meant to be here are going to be here.
Right.
And so if somebody leaves your project or they decide that it's not for them, just know that like the people that are meant to be there at the very end of the race will be there with you.
You are speaking things like that was needed, which is awesome. I will say this, besides the whole business side of you and the whole working with friends, all the above, you are your own music creator. You do your own stuff too that you love to do. How do you find time to put creativity into your music as well as like your other avenues?
So it's really interesting. Lately, I feel like the last probably 3 years of me actually being out into the working world and really trying and doing a lot of stuff has taught me a lot about work-life balance, because I at first thought I was like, I have to work every single day. I have to like feel like I'm really putting in the work or I'm going to fall behind, right? And I realized I was really unhealthy, like very unhealthy for me. And so I'm still trying to figure out, okay, am I working hard or am I not working enough?
Right.
And I think that it just comes down to what feels right. Like, what is it that you want to do? And a lot of the times, the things that, like the clients that you take on for the monetary, or the things that you're like, I'm doing this just to get a paycheck, like those are the things that you don't want to do because they're not in line with your curiosities. They're not in line with like what you want to be doing. And I think the hard part is that our society is built in this need for comfort.
Right.
I think it goes back to, even the friend discussion, why you hire friends, because it's comfortable to have your friends with you to make you feel secure. Same thing comes down to, being able to support yourself. It's like, well, I have to take this client or I'm not going to be able to pay rent this month.
Right.
For me, I've really tried to stop doing that. I've tried to stop taking things for the money, and I'm a spiritual person.
Yeah.
I believe in God. And me and God have daily conversations, and he's like, do you trust me? And I'm like, fuck, man. Like, yes. And I say that to God. Me and him have very honest discussions. I'm like, yes, I trust you, but you're really making me freak out here.
Right.
So I'm a Taurus. I'm very grounded and like being able to pay my stuff, being able to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And this has been a really hard season for me because I've had to be like, God, I trust you. Like, I trust you're going to take care of me, and that me following my intuition is going to be enough.
Right. My gosh, she's speaking great things into my life right now. So it's December. I know the New Year's coming up. What are your 3 New Year, like, let's go ahead and speak it into existence, like your affirmations of what's going to happen in 2021? Give me 3.
Okay.
And I want you to start off with like,
currently it's like November 11th. You're asking me to.
I want you to go ahead and be like, I am gonna have this, I want you to speak 3 affirmations into it.
Sure. So I have actually, first and foremost, so I feel like I need to give context behind this. I probably don't need to give context behind this because it doesn't matter, but I'm going to give context.
Okay, give it to us.
So my context is that last year I had finally got to a place where I had paid off on my debt. I had like got a bunch of savings, and then I started my business.
Okay.
And then COVID happened. I ain't got no savings anymore. I got a little bit of debt back. So my goal for next year, because I know I can do it, I've done it before, is to have a healthy bank account and have no debt. So that's goal number 1.
Okay.
Because that makes me feel good inside. So
same here on that point.
Yeah. I think it helps everybody. So that's goal number 1. Goal number 2, get back to doing things that fill me with joy and help my creative community.
I love it.
I was so focused on the monetary aspect this last year and helping everybody else that I actually did a disservice to myself and my community. And I needed to learn that lesson. It was important for me to learn. And then 3, just do cool shit. Like, I want to do cool shit. Like, when I think of an event or when I think of something, I'm going to do it. Instead of just giving myself excuses of why I can't do things. I used to never do that. And then this year I was like, oh, well, I need to have this amount of money, or like, I need these influencers to help promote. And I'm like, screw it.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing is like, even if 5 people watch this podcast, one of those people is going to need to hear this message.
Exactly.
You might need to hear this message. What if all this went corrupt? Like, what if we got none of this and I had to like come back or something? Like, somebody in this room needed to hear this.
Right.
I believe that. I truly do.
Well, I love your goals. I feel like everybody can probably add them to their goals too if you guys had no goals coming up for the new year. So before we end this off, end with a positive quote or a joke, and then also give your social media at the end.
Cool. So I'll go ahead and I have a little bracelet, gold bracelet. If you're watching on the video, you saw me look at it. If you're looking at the podcast or listening to the podcast,
Looking, listening, whatever.
So it says namaste, and namaste means the divine light me honors the divine light in you. And I think that especially during the time that we're in right now, we're actually like one day after the election finally got decided, right? I think this is really, really important more than ever, because basically what that means is all of who I am respects all of who you are. We might not agree on every single thing, but your light is a light. Right. And I need to honor that and help you shine, and you need to honor that and help me shine. And so I love namaste. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. So yeah, I guess that's where I would end. And then my socials?
Yes.
Okay.
Your social security number. I'm just kidding.
It's like you ain't gonna get much if you take it, but it's cool. Anyways, so it's basically Creator Jules on everything. Jules, multiple diamonds, JEWELS. Hopefully you know how to spell creator.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, if you're watching this and maybe a content creator, I hope you know how to spell your job title.
All right, you guys. So we are out. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe, share this. If you're listening this on Apple iTunes or whatever, Spotify, share it with somebody else, review it, and also check out the videos because you want to see who you're listening to. But all right, you guys, and we out. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my YouTube at Becky the Poet, and then follow me on Instagram, Becky the Poet, and the podcast, Unspoken Words Podcast. All right, you guys. Love y'all.